It's nothing short of extraordinary, the latest news about this New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman, also known as a liberal scumbag, who has been accused by 4 women of violently assaulting them, attacking them, abusing them in bed, choking them, threatening to kill them, threatening to use the power of his position because he was the AG of New York, a very powerful position. He threatened to use that to stalk them and go after them. I mean, wow. And this is the guy who was going after Trump and saying that Trump was improper and Trump abused women. You know, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he was going after Trump. And he spoke at the Women's March, and he's been a supporter of Planned Parenthood and all these women's rights groups. And meanwhile, if these women are to be believed, and I think that 4 women stepping forward on this is a pretty big deal, all the while he was choking, assaulting, threatening to kill women, violently attacking women. And he was calling this, he had this quote, brown woman. He called her, or he wanted her to refer to herself as his brown slave. And then he would reportedly scream that he was her master. I'm like, what the? This guy's insane. Now, of course, he's another powerful Democrat leftist, right? None of us are surprised by that. It's another powerful Democrat. Oh, and by the way, this is counterthink.com that you're watching, so thanks for joining me. This is just some breaking news updates. I got to tell you, New Yorker magazine broke this story, and they did not hold back. Or maybe they did hold back some things that we don't know, but what they published is so damning that Schneiderman resigned just within hours after this story being published. And, here we go. This guy also covered up for, guess what? He covered up the investigations into the NXIVM sex cult. The sex cult. NXIVM is what it's called. It's this weird Hollywood sex cult, and they're engaged in all this trafficking, and I don't know what else they do. I guess they have a lot of sex and they do weird cult things. I don't know, S&M. I don't know what they're into. But Schneiderman apparently, seemingly, wants to cover it up. So a month ago, he halted the investigation into the NXIVM sex cult. And I think that's where this is headed, by the way. I think Schneiderman and many, many other people in Washington, D.C. and New York and positions of power, I think they're into child sex trafficking, sex slave, what do they call it? Like power domination over their sex slave women. There was a report that this, quote, brown woman that Schneiderman had said, refer to yourself as my black slave or brown slave, that he told her to go out and find another woman so he could have a threesome, and he was demanding that she bring back another woman. So it's part of this weird sex slave recruitment effort thing that all these people are into. Remember that Hollywood actress? Forgot her name. She was on Smallville, I think. She was indicted. It was a couple of weeks ago. She was indicted for being part of this weird sex cult where she would go out and recruit women, and she tried to recruit celebrities and such to come in and be sex slaves for her sex slave master, who was this weird Hollywood guy. And they would carve their initials into the pelvic region of these sex slave women, and they would do weird, just weird, occultish, demonic, just criminal, violent, aggressive. And these are the people, keep in mind, these are the same people who say that Trump is evil. These are the people who say that Hillary Clinton should have been our president. These are the people who say that leftists are compassionate and leftists support women and children. And these are the same people who are supporting Planned Parenthood murdering literally millions of babies over the last decade. This is what they are. The Me Too movement is taking down so many Democrats. Mark my words, the left-wing media is going to start saying that we got to stop the Me Too movement. Why? Because too many powerful Democrats are being taken down by the Me Too movement, because it's these Democrats that are into these weird sex cults and sex slavery and bondage, all this weird stuff. I remember watching the episode 1 of the show called Billions, which stars, I think, Paul Giamatti, and it's on Showtime. And, it's a pretty well-made series, by the way. And in that opening series, Paul Giamatti, who I believe eventually becomes the New York Attorney General, his character does, he's in this weird S&M sex bondage domination thing and getting whipped. I'm like, geez, really? Does every show have to have some weird sex cult scene in it now? I wish they could just cut those out, because the rest of the show is really quite good. It's very well done. And, Paul Giamatti is just, he's one of the best actors in the world, right? You got to love the guy's acting regardless of his politics. But the point is, the character he played is like Eric Schneiderman in real life now. And I remember watching episode 1 and thinking, no way. There's no way that some New York Attorney General and New York judge or whatever they were, there's no way that these people are that crazy, that they're that Looneyville when it comes to sex cults and dominating women and abusing women. And then Eric Schneiderman comes out. 4 women step forward. New Yorker magazine publishes a story. Yeah, he's choking women. He's abusing them like he's having sex and abusing them. And one of the women says that it got to the point where they never had sex without him beating her. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with these people? There's something about these slick, powerful Democrats. They're power hungry. They're evil. And I guess along the lines, there are probably a few Republicans in there as well, but this is happening on the side of Democrats more than anything else, like 10-1. You got Harvey Weinstein, right? Totally exposed. Just abused all these women in Hollywood, sexual assault, rape, everything. You got Al Franken resigned from the Senate. You got Charlie Rose. All these people. The list is very long, and it's expanding by the day of all these Democrats who are being taken out because the truth about the way they treat women is going public, and they abuse women and they assault women, and they are weird sex perverts, and they're into weird domination things and just beating women. And then publicly they're like, no, we love women, we love equality, we love abortion, women's rights. Let's talk at the Women's March in Washington. You talk about hypocrisy. It's like they're almost sociopaths. I mean, maybe they are. How do you hold those two views at the same time? How do you publicly say you're pro-women and you speak at the Women's March and you talk about protecting women's rights and everything, and then in the bedroom you're just bashing in their heads and choking them and threatening to use your power as the New York Attorney General to kill women that you're screwing, that you're sleeping with? If they break up with you, you're going to kill them. I mean, how do you reconcile these two things? The only answer is that these people are psychotic liars. They're pathological liars. They have fake public personalities. Behind the scenes, they have the mindset of criminal murderers. I mean, it's like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. How many women did Bill Clinton rape? And he still has gotten away with it, by the way. How many federal crimes has Hillary Clinton committed? Obstruction of justice, destruction of evidence, leaks, violating national security protocols, leaking, classified information or allowing it to be hacked on her email servers and so on. And yet she gets away scot-free. Why? Why? Because she's a Democrat. And what about Bill Clinton on the Lolita Express airplane to, what do they call that island? It's like a child sex trafficking island. Was it Epstein? Epstein comes to mind. I think Epstein was convicted of some prostitution charges or something, underage sex charges, something like that. And Bill Clinton was on that plane, right? Bill Clinton took those trips to the island, to the child sex trafficking island. And, the mainstream media won't talk about this. The mainstream media won't even say that Eric Schneiderman is a Democrat. Wonder why? You ever wonder why? Yeah, I mean, if he was a Republican, they'd be all over this. Oh, Republicans abusing women, blah, blah, blah. This is consistent with, our reporting that Republicans hate women. When it's a Democrat doing this, they just say, it's just the New York Attorney General, and then they use it to blame Trump. And they report things like, this is so similar to the case of Trump claiming he grabbed a woman's blank, and they'll use it to attack Trump instead of saying, hey, it's these Democrats that are systematically abusing, raping, assaulting, and threatening women. The media is in a state of absolute denial over this. And I'm laughing so hard at this. I mean, in a sense, it's tragic and it's sad. I'm not laughing at what happened. I'm laughing at the fake media reporters, every time another Me Too corruption, collusion case erupts, I'm happy that the women have come forward. I'm happy that the women are believed. I'm happy that these power-hungry, weird, sex pervert people are being taken down. And I'm laughing at the media for covering it up because they are so desperate to change the narrative and fake the story. They're so desperate that they cannot even report the truth about what's actually happening. The truth is so damning about Eric Schneiderman and about Bill Clinton. They covered up for decades Bill Clinton's crimes. And let's say that they attacked the women that were trying to come forward to expose Bill Clinton. You know, how many attacks has Paula Jones been subjected to over the years, or Juanita Broderick and many others? It's insane. And, you know, here we are. The Me Too movement is winning. The women are going public. Creepy, weird sex cult men are being taken down. And again, it's about 10-1 Democrat, because Democrats are into this weird stuff. They're into violence. They claim to be nonviolent, and then they murder babies, and then they assault women, and they claim that they threaten women to kill them. They want to choke them out. And it's clear from this that Schneiderman in particular was willing to use his authority as the New York Attorney General to harass these women if they stopped sleeping with him, even though he was allegedly beating them. I mean, think about that. It's the abuse of power that we're seeing across all these Democrats, from Robert Mueller, James Comey, Hillary Clinton, you name it, Eric Holder under Obama, Obama himself, Loretta Lynch. The abuse of power and the weaponization of government to target innocent women in this case, but not just limited to women. It's out of control. The abuse of power. I mean, these left-wing, high-powered Democrat operatives have become the criminals of America. They have become the enemy of the people. They've become the greatest danger to our society. They're dangerous to women. I mean, if you slept with the New York Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, you place your life in danger, because if you stop sleeping with him, even though he's beating you and choking you and threatening you, then he would threaten to have you killed or followed or stalked using the taxpayer money of the state of New York. It means New York taxpayers were paying to have women harassed and threatened using the resources of the state of New York through Eric Schneiderman. That's how corrupt this whole system is. And Democrats want to claim that they're the ones who stand up for women? No, you're the ones abusing, assaulting, attacking, threatening, choking and women all day long. You're the ones killing babies. You're the ones who are lying about this and covering it up. You think this wasn't known? Trump tweeted about this like 4.5 years ago. Trump tweeted it. He said, yeah, Schneiderman's going to go down. It's way worse than anything that happened with Elliot Spitzer, who was also taken down as visiting prostitutes and such, which I guess is not as bad as beating and attacking and threatening women as Schneiderman is accused of doing. But, you know, Spitzer, of course, was taken down because of his, his sexual promiscuity and lack of candor and so on. Think about this too. The reason why you can't have attorneys general in this position where they are engaged in all this weird sexual deviancy and sex cult, or sex trafficking kind of behavior, if that's what it is. The reason you can't have that is because they can be blackmailed. One photograph of Eric Schneiderman could have blackmailed him. And I think you have to go through all the cases over the last, 5 years or however long that he has had positions of power. I think you got to go back and look at all those cases and see if some of those cases need to be overturned or thrown out, because could they be tainted due to the fact that someone had a photograph of Schneiderman, pulling one of these S&M bondage thing, Schneiderman in a pair of like tight leather women's panties with an apple in his mouth and what do they use, a chain or a cloth around? Why do they always have is it an apple? No, it's a ball. It's got to be a red ball. It's like, okay, a red ball in their mouth and a cloth or a chain or whatever they do, wearing like women's leather. Maybe he's cross-dressing, who knows? One photo like that, you know what that could do to the system of so-called justice in New York City and New York State? The whole thing could be twisted. I think it'd be hilarious to see a photo of Schneiderman like that. That would be the funniest thing of the year. If we could get a photo of Schneiderman wearing S&M bondage with a red ball in his mouth and being whipped by this so-called brown slave girl and that he demands call him master. I mean, that would be the funniest thing, the most twisted, sick thing, but funny at every level. I hope a photo like that surfaces. If someone's got a photo like that, it's got to come out. It's just too good. Unreal. Schneiderman, the S&M, what is the S&M adventurous spirit? Who knows what this guy was into? All these people are insane. That's what I'm saying. They're all just sickos. They're perverts. They're twisted. They're violent against babies, unborn babies. They're violent against women. And of course, they're violent against Trump and Trump supporters and Second Amendment rights supporters. They hate Christians, they hate Trump supporters. They hate the Constitution, but they love beating up on brown slave girls that they have for their little sex cult. You know what I mean? That's who these people are. They're sickos. They're sickos and they're psychos and they're sociopaths, and they always rise to these high positions of power, especially in the Democrat part of government. They're high in the DNC. They're high in state legislatures. They're high in law enforcement. Look who had run the FBI, James Comey. Corruption, deep corruption, liar. No one's accused James Comey of beating women or anything, but he's a liar and he's dishonest and he's a traitor. That much is for sure. But all these perverts rise to positions of power because they're sociopaths. They don't give a crap about other human beings. There's like a compassion circuit that most of us have. I don't know what part of the brain it is or part of the heart connected to the brain, but there's compassion. There's basic human compassion in real humans. These people have no compassion. They have no circuitry of empathy. They're just like lizard brainstem function. They just want to get sex and power and money and violence, and that's all they think about every day. They wake up. Schneiderman probably looks in the mirror every morning, wakes up. He's like, who can he murder today? Or who can he threaten to murder today? Who can he have sex with and then choke out on his own bed? Who can he bitch slap and then make her sleep with him and go recruit another girl to have sex with them in a threesome while he's beating them both? I mean, this is the kind of thing that this guy probably thinks every day. And it's hard for most Americans to believe because most Americans, they don't think that way, thank God. Because most people are honest, decent people. And it's hard to project, it's hard to even think that there's some human being out there who is the attorney freaking general of New York who could treat women like this. And yet, he did, if the accusers are to be believed, and I believe them. He already resigned. It's a done deal. I mean, of course he did this stuff. Of course he did. It's like Bill Cosby said, he's innocent. Yeah, he didn't drug women. Yeah, you did. There's like 65 women lined up here. I bet you there's going to be more women coming out about Schneiderman too, because if he's been beating up, 2, 3, 4 women, he probably didn't stop there. He's been doing this probably for a long period of time, I would guess. The guy, I hope he's brought up on criminal charges. I hope these women testify. I hope the guy does prison time. It's what he needs to do for beating up on women and choking them out while he's having sex with them. These people are freaking sickos. What do you even do? I don't know. Look, I'm going to wrap this up. It's just, you try to go through this world every day as a human being with a heart and compassion. And you try to genuinely help people. You try to help people create health and abundance and civil rights and civil liberties and freedom and all these things. I promote health and nutrition and disease prevention, awakening, all these things. And then you're walking through the world as an honest, decent, ethical person. I'm a Christian person. I believe in divinity. I believe in God. I believe in treating other people with dignity and respect. I've spoken about this a lot. And you encounter these demons, these absolute demons, like Schneiderman. And you just think to yourself, what the hell are they doing here? Like, did an actual demon creature from hell like invade his body and take him over and become like Eric Schneiderman the demon? And like, is he actually possessed by demonic spirits? I don't know. I'm not saying that I believe that that's actually the case. It's just a question. It's almost a metaphor. It's like, what the hell possessed this guy to act that way? And why did it take so long for this to come out? If everybody in the world would just treat each other the same way that I treat people in private, just polite, with dignity, want to help everybody be abundant, want to help everybody succeed, I wouldn't even need to do this. I wouldn't need a show called Counterthink. I wouldn't need to publish Natural News or News Target or any of these other websites, because the world would just be an awesome place. People just treat each other with dignity and respect. Instead, we got to deal with these Schneiderman scumbags, these left-wing, they're almost always liberal left-wing scumbags, like power-hungry, sociopathic abusers of women and fraudsters and Trump haters and all this. It's the same pattern over and over again. We got to deal with these scumbags. And how do you deal with them? That's what I'm saying right now. We need, I don't know what authority this is going to come from or how this is going to happen. We need mass arrests of the deep state operatives right now. We need mass arrests of people like James Comey and Andrew McCabe and many, many others, Loretta Lynch and so on. Mass arrests. We need to clean house of all these sicko, psycho, sociopathic, tyrants, and many of which, by the way, are involved in weird sex habits and I'm not even going to say. Maybe I'll cover it in another episode because it's just too dark and too deep. We need mass arrest right now. We need to clean house. We need to drain a swamp. We need to put a bunch of people behind bars, including Hillary Clinton, by the way. Bill Clinton needs to be held accountable for his crimes against women, just like Bill Cosby is now finally being held accountable. I mean, it is time for the transparency to blow wide open, to pull the cover back, pull back the veil of secrecy that the Democrats have been hiding behind all these years. We have got to hold these people accountable for the way that they have trafficked in children, child sex slaves, and abused women, attacked women, and raped women, sexually assaulted women repeatedly year after year after year. These people have to be held accountable, and many of them are traitors to the United States. By the way, they are actual traitors. Some have committed treason. Some are traitors. Some have committed sedition. Some have committed lesser crimes. It just depends on who you're talking about. But we gotta take our country back, and the only way to do that is to lock up these sicko, psycho criminals who are at the highest levels of the Democrat Party. These left-wing people are dangerous to us all, dangerous especially to women and babies. It's unbelievable. Who do they target? Women and children. That's who they target. That's who they want to murder, kill, abuse, all this stuff. Women and children. It's unreal. You can watch more episodes. I don't know if you call this breaking news commentary or whatever. Watch it at counterthink.com. That show, I'm posting episodes there almost daily now. It will be daily soon. Counterthink.com. Especially on breaking news items, we have a process in place to try to get these out more quickly. You can also, of course, read my websites, newstarget.com and naturalnews.com. And some of these Counterthink episodes will have more production value where we do like a split screen thing with photos and newsreel and stuff like that. But for more breaking news items, we're not doing any editing at all to have it go out really quickly. So that's what you're watching right now. I thank you for your support. God bless America. Let's get these damn criminals behind bars. Let's root them out. Let's expose them all. Let's expose the weird, the sex cults and the child sex trafficking and the slave, what do you call it? Sex slave domination tactics of these radical left-wing, power-hungry psychopaths who still are in power today. They're all over. They're all over New York, by the way. They're all over Washington, D.C. These people are in the Senate. These people are in the House. These people are in the FDA, the EPA, the CDC. These people, they're sickos and psychos all across that whole swamp system. We got to drain that swamp, arrest all these people, expose all the sex crimes going on all across Washington, New York, and frankly, Boston for that matter. It's time to lock these people up. It's time to make our society safer for women who shouldn't have to be subjected to this kind of violence by powerful Democrats who want to weaponize government and abuse their power to target innocent women for sex favors while they're abusing them and threatening them. It's unreal. Just unreal. But I appreciate you watching. Be safe, everybody. And women, one last note, women, if it's legal in your area, carry a concealed weapon, will you please? Carry a concealed weapon. And some asshat like that attacks you, physically attacks you, did you know that you have the right to defend yourself? That's all I'm saying. I mean, if you're having sex with some power-hungry Democrat and he attacks you and chokes you and physically assaults you, hey, that's what Glocks are for, people. That's what Glocks are for. It's called self-defense. It's a protected right under the Second Amendment. Now, I'm not saying doing it if it's not legal in your city. Like New York City, I don't think you can just carry a Glock, right? Because it's illegal there. Chicago and so on. All the places where the gun violence is the worst is where you can't have a gun. But if it's legal, go get the training. Go get the concealed carry license if you need one in your state. You don't need one in some states now. Get safety training. Get competent in how to use a firearm. Get yourself a Glock 19, okay? That's what women need, especially. I know many women who fire the Glock 19 and they do it extremely well. They can put 10 rounds into a target about, well, let's say like that, like 6 to 8 inches spread on targets. They can put 10 rounds into that, from a decent distance, like 7 to 10 yards away. No problem. You want to stop the violence against women? Arm yourselves. Get yourself a Glock 19. Get yourself some 9mm rounds. Get out to the range. Get some training. Get some practice time. Next time some man violently assaults you and makes you bleed and slaps you till blood's coming out of your ears and starts choking you to death, you pull out that Glock 19 and you lay into that asshat. And you let him know that this is not okay. This is assault. This is assault. You lay into that guy. If it's legal to do so in your state. I always have to add that on there. If it's legal to do so, yeah. Because some places it's not legal to defend yourself, like New York City, come to think of it. That's all I'm saying. You have a right to defend yourself. You and I and all of us, we have the God-given right to defend ourselves. All I'm saying is invoke that right if necessary to stop violence against women. I'm talking about imminent, immediate violence, someone physically attacking you, someone threatening to harm your body or kill you. You pull out that Glock 19 and you go to town on them. That's what you do. And then you call 911 and then you shut the hell up until your lawyer shows up. You don't say a word till your lawyer shows up, okay? Because they might try to, the city might try to sue you or even criminally indict you, or somebody like this Schneiderman might try to indict you, unless he's already dead, having been shot by a woman, theoretically, in which case there'll be another attorney general that might try to indict you, you see? So that's what it's all about. Protect yourself. You have every right to do so. Don't let these violent sex assaulters and abusers destroy you, choke you out, threaten to kill you, violently attack you, hurt you, maim you, scar you. Pull out that Glock 19. You go to town. You go to town on them. That's what you do in self-defense because you have every right to do so. It's protected under the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and laws in most places, but not all places. So be lawful when you decide to carry. That's what I'm saying. Thanks for watching. Be safe.